How's it going, everyone? And today I've got a Pokemon video for you, more in particular a Pokemon Let's Go video, the latest game on the Switch. Now, it came out around a month ago, so that's given people plenty of time to play it, trying to fill up those Pokedexes and trying to beat the Elite Four. And I've been playing Pokemon since the first ever game. I've played a game in every single generation throughout the entire series. I've managed to get all of the Pokemon in the Pokedex all the way up to Ultra Sun and Moon, including all of the mythicals and all the legendaries and the event only Pokemon. I've got everything, but in this game I've tried to do something that I've not done before. As Pikachu's starting getting a bit annoyed about something, we're just gonna clear him off the screen there. I've tried to do something in this game that I've not done before, and that's to try and get a living dex. Now, most of you probably know in Pokemon you try to collect all of the different Pokemon, and there's a Pokédex that you have to try and complete. Now, this game is based on Generation 1, meaning there is 150 Pokemon in the game, with Mew being the extra 151st Pokemon. Now, if we go to the Pokédex, you can see it is complete. Now, it says 152. I'm going to get to that in a minute, because there is some bonus Pokemon in this game that aren't usually available in Generation 1. But I've managed to complete the Pokédex. I've got all of the stuff registered there. Now, the thing is, when you select stuff in the Pokédex, when you capture these Pokemon, you will eventually evolve them. So a Bulbasaur that you catch, you'll evolve it into an Ivysaur, and you'll evolve it into a Venusaur. And that means you will own a Venusaur as a Pokemon, but you will no longer own an Ivysaur or Bulbasaur unless you capture them. It registers them in the Pokédex, but you don't physically own those Pokemon. And a living dex is where you try to capture one of every single Pokemon. So you'll have all 151 organized in an order, and captured and living, so to speak. This is why it's called a living dex. Now, if we go over to my Pokemon box, which is located in my bag, we can scroll down here and see, there we go, I've organized it, and I do have this living dex now. So I've managed to capture one of every single Pokemon. There was some stuff that, you know, was slightly harder to get. You know, it was kind of annoying to try and find more Charmanders, because they're kind of rare to spawn after getting one to evolve into a Charizard. But yeah, I've managed to do that. So we scroll down, we can see all in order. There is nothing missing. Trust me, you can double check if you want. Pause the video, but I have got everything. We scroll all the way down here, we start to get to the rarer ones, and we can see here we've got Mew, which is number 151, which is the special one you get from having the I think it's called the Pokemon Go Plus controller. Okay, but 150 you can catch in the game. Now, 152, which we saw in the Pokédex, is Meltan here. Now, Meltan you can't capture in this game by itself. It is only available if you have Pokemon Go as well. So if you link your Pokemon Go game, which is on the mobile, linked it up to the Pokemon Let's Go on the Switch, then you will get in Pokemon Go, the mobile game, you will get something called a mystery box in which you can catch a bunch of these Meltans, which is the new mythical Pokemon. I think it's number 808 in the series. Now, you can capture a bunch of those, and then you can transfer them from your phone onto Pokemon Let's Go. Now, the thing is, there is an evolution of this. I believe it's called Meltau, and it's basically a bigger version. It's just more steel, bigger nuts, you know? Nuts as in the face, right? And basically, you cannot evolve it into that in this game. It doesn't evolve by leveling up. The only way to get the evolved form is to do it on Pokemon Go on your phone. You need to basically get 400 candy to evolve it, and then you can transfer it over to Pokemon Let's Go. Now, I'm very close, don't know why it keeps doing this, very close to getting the evolved form. However, my first one is a 98% IV one, and I'm going to keep that for Pokemon Go for battling in that. So that won't be my first one to kind of transfer over, but give it like a month or so, and I should be able to transfer an evolved form, which means I'll have 153 all of the Pokemon available in this game, a living dex completed. I've also got the Alolan forms, as you can see here. There are some different forms of Pokemon, and these are the Alolan forms, which are available initially in Sun and Moon, and they're the same Pokemon as the Kanto versions. However, they're just kind of slightly different looking, and they have different types. We've got Rattata, Raichu, Sandshrew, the Vulpix line, Diglett, the Geodude line, like all of these things. Again, Golem is another one you have to trade to evolve, so that was slightly harder to get. But yeah, all of these Kanto versions. Now, as you probably saw in the title, I also said about shinies. Now, for those of you who've not really played much Pokemon and don't really know what about shinies, shinies are very, very, very rare versions of Pokemon in these games. Basically, they have a different color palette. They are signified as shiny. They're very, very rare. Now, in the previous games, it was something like 1 in 8,000 to try and get a chance of getting a shiny. Which is extremely rare. Most people would only ever find one just through passing in every couple of games. You had to actively try to get them, and there are different ways. If you complete your Pokédex, you can get something called the Shiny Charm, which is essentially kind of halves your chances of finding it, or doubles your chances. It makes it something like, you know, less than the original number. There's also something in this game called a lure. Now, a lure increases the Pokemon spawns, and it also increases the chances of finding a shiny. There's also something called chaining in this game, which is something new that wasn't available really in previous games. If you keep capturing the same Pokemon over and over, so for example, we've got a Geodude here. Let's say we go and capture Geodude after Geodude, not capturing anything else. Keep capturing Geodude up to a chain of 31. Then once you hit 31, you hit your peak chance of finding a shiny. Okay, and that is something with all of those factors enabled. It's something like 1 in 273, which is still a large odd, but it's much better than thousands. Okay, and I've been trying to, if you've been watching my streams, you've been seeing I've been trying to find some of these shinies, and I've got a bit of a collection. As you can see here, I've got them all marked as favorites to distinguish them from the regular ones. Now the first two here, I've got Pidgeys. I'm going to check summary so you can see the different colors there, and you can see the star next to the name. That means the little red star, that means it is a shiny. Pidgey doesn't look really different, but Pidgey and a Pidgey and a Zubat, there you go, he's green instead of blue. These were given to me by a friend, Twisted, as he found them just playing through the regular game and didn't really want them. And then I started shiny hunting for myself once I completed the game, and I managed to get a Ponyta, which, you know, different fire there. It's got blue fire. We got a golden Geodude. We've got a golden Caterpie. We got a slightly more tanned Pikachu, I guess. It looks very similar. We've got a slightly more green Bulbasaur, golden Weedle, a very green looking Oddish, shiny Rhyhorn. I guess that's kind of pinkish looking, or a lighter brown as opposed to grey. I've got a golden Charmander, and then I've got a green Golbat. Now most of these I found while actually hunting for them, but for example, the Rhyhorn appeared when I was hunting for shiny Charmanders, and the Golbat was, you know, it appeared when I was looking for shiny Machop of all things. So my initial thought was I was going to try and catch one of every family. So, you know, for example, a Pikachu. I've got a shiny Pikachu. I don't need to get a shiny Raichu as well. However, the fact that I've got two Pidgeys, I can evolve one into a Pidgeotto, and I've got the Zubat and Golbat, makes me think, well, actually, if it's only taken me like this amount of time, because I've only been shiny hunting for, you know, I don't know, like a quarter of the time I've been playing this game, not very much time at all. If it's taken me that long to find this many shinies already, is it worth trying to go for a living shiny dex as well? I know there's a lot of people out there who are probably well on their way. I know I've seen some streamers who are basically over halfway already, but I thought, you know what, it's going to be about a year until the next Pokemon game, the mainline game, which is, you know, supposedly going to be Generation 8. Maybe that's something I can do, you know, to kill the time if I'm on a train, if I'm on a plane, you know, just go for some shiny hunting. So maybe in the future, if you guys think it's a good idea, maybe in the future I will give you an update on how that shiny hunt is going. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the Pokemon content, something a little bit different today, and I'll see you next time.